Welcome to Second Listen Saturday on the Parenting Roundabout podcast, where we share some fun moments from a past episode for your weekend listening pleasure. Look for new episodes every Monday through Friday. Today's obsession is one of the least pleasant tasks to think about having to do, and there are lots of tasks that we don't want to think about doing. But this one we're talking about today is putting together a will, or maybe rationalizing for not having done that yet. My husband and I put together a will many, many years ago when our children were very small, and we put it in a closet in a lockbox and have never looked at it since. I know it's there. I do not remember what it says, which is probably not so good. But at least we have something. And Nicole, you recently took care of this unpleasant duty?
Well, we had one up in Canada, and we knew that we were kind of, walking a fine line by sort of thinking that we could use that one. We moved down here because we didn't know when we first moved down here if we were going to end up moving back or not. So we didn't make any radical changes. And then we've just recently realized that we have been here for about 11 years and we're not going to be moving back anytime soon. And so we had better get an American one done. So we reluctantly went into the attorney's office and sat down and looked at all the prices of getting this done and realized that we should probably save our kids some hassle when we pass away and put together a trust. I don't know, there's a difference, will versus trust. But so we had to finally, sit down and get all that done up. And it's quite a process, and it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
And it's not cheap. But I understand that it's a good thing to do. If you can, and if you're at that point in life. So but it definitely makes you think twice. And so one of the things that they suggested was that we go home and kind of get our financial stuff all together, kind of like in a binder, I guess, per se, and, or online or something, and put all of our kind of big accounts, just kind of put something, put it in one place for the kids. And then they're like, every time you go away,
oh my goodness,
you need to write a letter to the kids.
Gosh.
Giving them instructions on what to do if you pass away. I'm like, what? And they said, yeah, the lady who we were talking to, she's like, oh, my dad does that every time he goes on vacation.
Can't you reuse the same one? He
writes us a letter saying, how much he loves us.
Why do you have to do a new one every time?
Exactly. So you know what? I did do kind of a little draft because my husband and I are going away this weekend, and then we've got some other big trips coming up later in the year. And I did do a draft of one, and it was kind of funny because I kind of took more of a sarcastic-y kind of humorous route as opposed to, I guess I was just in good spirits.
You had fun with it.
Yeah, I had fun with it, exactly. But yeah, they were like, you wouldn't believe how many kids don't know what your wishes are and don't know what, what to do or where to go.
It makes sense on one level, but on the other, it's not even just whenever you go, on a trip. You could something could happen to you driving to the store. It's like you have to have a constant state of readiness for, I have a kid with abandonment issues. It would not be a good idea for me to do that.
Well, not that kid was aware of. It's
you just hide it someplace where they'll find it if something happens. Just put it with the will. Or...
Yeah, like I just had this binder and I put everything in it. And then I took the letter and I put it at the front of the binder. And I just said to my kids, I said, okay, if anything happens to us, just look in the binder.
Yeah.
So then they'll see it when, if they have to go to the binder. Now it's going to be this ominous object.
I know. If I were them, I'd be like, I need to see that binder right now.
Oh, jeez.
I know. Or, the binder. We don't want to go near the binder. Don't touch the binder.
Yeah. I would be freaked out by there being a binder at all. I feel like I need something like that for my husband because I handle all the financial stuff. And he would have no idea how to pay a bill or anything, what to do. Anytime I'm away for any length of time, I think, I should have some paperwork somewhere. Or I should show my daughter how to access everything is what I should do. Because he doesn't have any, everything is paperless now. Everything is done on the computer. all access to our bank account, how much money we have in it. Everything is on the computer, and he has absolutely no idea what to do.
Yeah.
And I don't want to think about needing to explain all that, because it's not that easy to explain it either to somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. And I have a password manager, and here's how to use the password manager, and I just can never die.
Right, and you feel like you could explain it. Like if somebody explained that kind of thing to me, I don't have any confidence that I would remember it, especially in a time of stress and strain. Would I be like, now what did you say about how to open this thing? And,
Yeah, I should sit down one of our friends and explain everything to them and say, you're going to need to come here and hold Rick's hand and show him how to do all this stuff.
I mean, I felt like it was a good time, it's a good time to do it. I mean, things have been, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I did eventually compile it online, and then I did a separate list of passwords for important accounts. And then, it's just one of those things. We have so much to do in our lives already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, but I felt like, my husband would have no clue. My kids would have no clue. Nobody would know where anything is. So I could imagine my husband, swearing and cursing my name.
But you're not there anymore, so...
Right. And, I'm not sure I could put my hand on... we do have a will that we had drawn up, when our daughter was born, I think. And where is that? I don't know where that is. And,
right.
And I think it says... I think it gives custody of our kids to my mother-in-law who passed away 4 years ago. We probably need to revisit that.
Yeah.
Because that's the really hard part. Who gets the kids,
Yeah.
Well, we're quickly coming out of any time where that will be a concern in terms of getting the kids.
Yeah.
You would hope, you want to line up people who will, I need to have people who I know will take care of mine, even though they're of legal age.
Right.
But, they don't necessarily need a guardian, but they just need somebody making sure they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
And, at the time when they were little, we had all sorts of arrangements with a friend that they would move into our house and kind of watch over them, but that's not necessarily practical now. So there's all sorts of things that need to be thought through, but I can't talk about them with the kids because they'll freak out. And, it's not something you want to sit down with your friend over coffee and say, so, how comfortable do you feel with the following options?
Right.
No need to stress over it now. I'm sure it won't ever happen, but, you have to be ready on the drop of the hat to pick up on this, and you can't renege at all.
No.
So that's not a lot of pressure to put on somebody.
And also, you can't ever go out of town or die.
Right. Yeah, the people I said would be in charge of my kids, we travel with frequently, or we did at the time, and I'm thinking, should we, take separate cars? Should we never be on the same airplane?
Right.
It's terrible to think of. And
I know.
Therefore, I think we did ours when my husband had some deal with the job he had at the time, had free legal services as one of the benefits.
Oh, that's nice.
So I think we took advantage of it, and that's why we have it. But that is no longer the case. So if we needed to revisit anything, I'm sure it would be costly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands.
Which is...
Yeah. Because they talk you into, okay, well, you need power of attorney because you have to be able to access all this stuff if your partner dies. And then you need a spillover will, which counts. Yeah. It kind of picks up all the stuff that you forgot to put in your will.
That just sounds like a money-making venture. Why can't they remember to put it all in the first one?
Oh, dear.
It's like the backup will,
Yeah.
And, I don't know. There was all these other forms that...
Seriously, if you're paying them to do it right this time, why do you need a suck-up?
Yeah, exactly. So it was just... Yeah. And then, will versus a trust, and the difference between those, and of course that increases the price. And
oh yeah, I should probably check to see what are those things we have, because the kids were quite young and they might need something different now. I don't know, but I don't want to look at it.
Yeah, it's. I would recommend looking at it and seeing, because it does sound like my husband has a friend right now who's, his friend passed away, but the friend's family is having. It's quite a process to go through the courts, because if you don't have a will, or if your will is outdated, or even if it's just a will period, you have to go through the court system. And the way that the attorney was talking, and of course, she's also selling, but
yeah,
but it makes sense, is that you're at the mercy of getting dates at the courthouse, and
right.
that can be up to a year or whatever, right?
Well, and also, like, even if you have something, it's such a process to execute, and I can only imagine if you have a document to start with, how much worse that would be.
Yeah.
Right.
And this totally. So it's just one of those things, I feel like it's an extra cost, but you really got to bite the bullet and deal with it at some point.
Well, it's just for the sake of your children or your survivors. It's you're doing it for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to really care.
It's definitely one of those parenting responsibilities that, is something that if you screw it up, you're not going to be there to fix it. Yeah. And that's kind of terrifying, especially if you've been the fixer in your family.
Yeah.
Well, on that bright and cheery note.
Fun.
Congratulations to Nicole for doing this.
Yeah, I do feel like I need the award.
And Terry and I probably need to go and make some updates.
Yes.